Hello my friends, my family, my flockers as we love to be called. Well, I hope you do, because scratch that. What we're going to see today in this video, because you might be thinking, what's going on, the sin ritual? Well, I've been on a sin frequency, sign frequency, sin. I've done a lot of videos on eyes and the Oculus. I want to combine all that into one. So there's going to be a lot of old stuff and a lot of new stuff and a lot of more what ifs, what I'm famous for. And I want to put that together because then I want to reveal why I've made it right at the end. Because then you'll go, and I can't believe, I've never saw this before. For all the research I've done, I've never saw what I'm going to reveal at the end. That's crazy because it was hidden in plain sight. And you guys will go wow at the end. You probably know it already because you guys are really smart. But this one didn't. So guys, that's what you can expect in this video. Eyes, sin, frequency, demons, everything. All compact. And the occult. All that is going in this video. So enjoy. See you in a minute. So guys, right at the beginning of the intro, you saw the definition of what they say ritual means. A small, tangible act done routinely that carries value and meaning to whoever basically does it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a spell etymology. I'm going to break down that word to start us off. So as you know, spell etymologies are just my opinion on what information I found, and I split them up and I use different languages to find something that connects what with the feeling of what I'm trying to get at. So let's break down ritual into two. Rit to, or right to, and obviously AL can become EL. So right to in Vedic Sanskrit refers to a fixed or appointed time, especially the proper time for a sacrifice. So you can see why I've included it. Even when I look in different languages, a ritual is routinely carries value and meaning. So it's talking about the fixed or appointed time or the anointed time, the proper time for a sacrifice. So I've done the definition of the spell etymology of ritual, the appointed time or the anointed time of or for the sacrifice to the elves, the gods. Now, wow is that? Because that's what a ritual is basically talking about. The anointed time for a sacrifice to the elves, the gods. I was wow at that myself. Right, so let's carry on. Right guys, so I want to carry on and I want to look at things that I've covered in past videos, because when you put them together and we're talking about the sin ritual, I'm talking about anything hidden or occult, I'm going into a lot of things, as you know, in this video. So let's have a look at the word occult. Now, the occult origin is from the Latin occultus. Basically means to conceal. So when you see them doing these rituals, celebrities covering their eyes, you're thinking, what are they concealing? What are they hiding? So I want to carry on and give you a few more, basically, definitions of occult. You have, obviously, to hide, to conceal. You have a characteristic of magical, mystical or supernatural arts, phenomena or influences. Obviously B, the occult. 2, beyond ordinary human understanding. Number 3, secret or esoteric. You've also got, it's linked to astronomy, and it says of a celestial body, to hide another celestial body from view by occultation of a celestial body, to become hidden by occultation or occultation. Number 5, to hide or become hidden or shut off from view. Your eyes. Number 6, of lights, especially in a lighthouse, to shut off from at regular intervals. And obviously you got American English then, and you can see various things are covered over and moved over. 1, hidden or concealed. Secret, esoteric. 3, beyond human understanding or mysterious. Designation of a certain arts, studios or practices as magic, alchemy or astrology, involving mysterious powers that some people believe can affect the way things happen. To hide or become hidden from view. Again, hidden from your view. Your eyes. Astronomy, to hide by occultation. Obviously, idioms, the occult. Now, when we're talking about hidden from view, it got me thinking, because obviously I've covered it in old videos. Who looks after your eyes but an oculist? They're the people who examine or treat people's eyes. So you have occultist and oculist. It's very, 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 very similar, isn't it, guys? So an occultist is a person who believes in the practices, occult arts such as magic, astrology, alchemy, seances, or any other activity claiming the use of secret knowledge or supernatural powers or agencies. But what got my wow here is, and I'm going to highlight it for you, is obviously you can see occultist. Now look at the phonetic. Occultist. K-U-H-L. Does anyone remember where that comes from? And it blew my mind. I'm like, whoa. And I'm going to show you now. So the K-U-H-L, kuhul or cool, is in Arabic means body eating spirit. And obviously it's in reference to the word alcohol. Comes from the Arabic al-kuhul, which means body eating spirit, and gives roots and origins to the term for ghoul. Wow. So what does that mean then if you use body eating spirit? Is it eating your eyes? Or hiding some, eating the hidden knowledge? I don't know, but I've never looked at it that way. Obviously cool. Kahul means obviously body eating spirit. Is it the spirit? Is it a demon? Is it the jinn? Who knows? But that is in a weird warped wow and cool. No pun intended. Now I'm going to show you an old clip, because remember in the breakdown of ritual I talked about the anointed or appointed time for a sacrifice. Now I want to emphasize on time and see from this old clip in the Oculus occultist, or the other way around, I can't remember which way I did it, something in regard to time and your eyes. It's wow. So this clip was from the old video, as I was saying. So your eyes don't just see the effects of time. They are time. Now you might be wondering, why is he saying that? You're going to see now. It was mad, it blew me away at the time. So etymology of eye reveals basically Old English word eye, but it was phonetically said I as age. You can say E-A-G-E. So I was age. How crazy is that? And age, or I, also means age, and it means the amount of time something has existed. So there you have it, guys. Your eyes are basically etymology from age, and age obviously is time. Your eyes see time. And now you know why I put that clip in, because I was talking about the word ritual broken down meant the anointed or the appointed time for a sacrifice. And your eyes, are they being sacrificed? But their eyes and time and the word ritual all coexist together. That is a huge wow. That my mouth dropped when I put that together. Right, guys, so what you're going to see now, no pun intended, is a huge what if. It's me elaborating and trying to show you what's in this crazy head. And the reason I've done this before that is because there's a lot of information. Your head's going to explode. Well, mine did. And I'm basically trying to show you a thought in my head that, you know, the forbidden fruits in the Garden of Eden, how they and the trees are your eyes. And it's all connected to your eyes and knowledge and light and different things. So that is what I'm trying to get at. And now you're going to see it. And you're going to see why I think that. And hopefully you may agree. May. So I've always talked about how knowledge, light, information are all one and the same. Well, when we're talking about the eyes in this video, obviously, and to get that light, firstly, it passes through the cornea. The cornea sounds a bit like the coroner, and that's a clear front layer of the eye. So some of the light enters the eye through an opening, and that opening is called pupil. Now if we type in the Latin converter, pupil, and I'll put it so you can hear
pupil,
and in Latin,
pupilla.
pupilla. So that basically means discipulus, apprentice, student, pupil, trainee, disciple, scholar. Pupilla, apple, ward, pupil, pupil of the eye, orphan girl, minor. Auditor, hearer, pupil, listener, disciple. Pupil, pupil of the eye, and eyeball. So you can see the link between learning, light, and knowledge is all through the eye. And that's why I want to do this video on the eye, because I want to put so much different aspects in it just to make you think, why is there so much this worship of the eye? I mean, think about it now. So you have the light, it just goes through the pupil, which is so important. Then you have the iris. But before I go on the iris, the pupil is the darkest part in the circle. It's dark. And it's funny how evil is dark, black, associated with that, and badness, bad. But it's funny that we're talking about apple of the eye. And if you quickly change the English to apple, and in Latin it means
malum,
apple fruit, malum, evil, disaster, apple, harm, mischief, hurt. So you can see how apple of the eye translates to malum, which is bad. This is in regard to the tale of Adam and Eve taking the fruit off, is it the tree of knowledge of good and evil? It's weird that they title the tree that, and we're talking about light, knowledge, and fruit. Obviously, we don't know what fruit. The people have theorised on what type of fruit it actually was, if it was real. But the tree of knowledge, we're talking about pupils. Pupils are there to learn, and I can quickly join it together to mean bad. So it's just crazy, isn't it, how we all can connect the both. So guys, you saw me little spoiler video basically telling you about the huge what if coming up because there's too much information. You saw a little bit of context from another old video, and that video was from this video that you can see on the screen, the Oculus Occultist. It's over 3 years old. It's basically about the secret society in Germany known as the Oculus that went on to be obviously opticians and so on. So that's even more context. So I want to get onto this Adam and Eve stuff that I've been talking about, and the apple. Now there is a historical bias to portray Eve on Adam's left, and you keep that in mind for the last point I want to make in the entire video. Obviously left is associated with evil in ancient times, but you can see why, because of the association with Eve. So there is an historical bias to portray Eve on Adam's left in works of art depicting of a Garden of Eden scene. However, this bias is lessened over time, and images created during more recent periods are not as likely to show this asymmetry. And if you look at old stuff, you'll see she's generally on the left side, because obviously left was associated with being evil. So I've talked about how I believe the apples or the forbidden fruit were your eyes and knowledge, etc. So the forbidden fruit is commonly thought of as an apple, but the Bible never actually says what fruit it is. Regardless, the effects of Eve and Adam eating it were fatal. Obviously people have theorised on what type of fruit it is, and I'm changing it and saying, hey, what if this was actually your eyes and everything that's associated with your eyes, and hence the two trees, two eyes, or a set. So their eyes were opened for Adam and Eve. This meant that they were aware that they had sinned against God. I've talked about sin in my latest video, sin and sign, and how the sign even looks like a serpent against God, and in their pride they made themselves out to be their own God, to be their own Lord and Master. Their eyes were opened to their own sin, and they were expelled from the garden. So obviously I wanted to carry on looking at the word fruit, the origin. Now this is a little bit of a so-called stretch, but you can see why. So the word fruit, Middle English, grew from the seeds of Anglo-French fruit, and obviously fruit or fruit, which are rooted in the Latin verb frui, meaning to enjoy or to have the use of. What do you have the use of if you can see? Your eyes. You enjoy things with your eyes. So you can see where I was going. So let's carry on. So the Bible details how God's enemy, Satan, took the form of a serpent. He tempted Eve, then Adam, to eat the forbidden fruit, which I'm talking about as being using your eyes. They saw something. They learned something with their eyes, with a false promise of getting even more than God had already given them. Adam and Eve gave in. They disobeyed God's only instruction. Right. So in an old video, I didn't want to show you the clip, but I did the etymology of serpent to reveal something crazy, because I was talking about the fallen and how the serpent seed is inside us and things like that. But if you change it in regard to your eyes, it tells another picture. So the serpent, the sine wave, a frequency is basically how we see in forms of light and waves. So hear me out. So ser comes from the Latin esse, meaning to be. With some forms it means sedere, meaning to sit. Your eyes sit in your head. And estar is from meaning to stir, to stand. What do you do with your eyes when you look at something? You stir. So you can see how I was like, whoa. So another etymology of ser, Proto-Indo-European root meaning to protect. It might form all or part of the conversation. So it means to protect. So are they protecting this secret? Are they protecting the seed? Are they protecting the sine wave, the frequency that we could see, all the things? Who knows? So let's carry on. Pent, kept in or confined. So could this be about a seed, the actual serpent? Are we talking about a frequency, a wave? Or are we talking something that they saw with their eyes and they kept this secret? It's intriguing, isn't it? So I want to carry on and show a lot more things. So what you're seeing on the screen now is the back of your eyes and the central retinal artery. Yeah, you make a din. Someone's just gone past with a rattling car. Central retinal vein. Now look at it, how it intertwines. Does that not remind you of a symbol for gnosis, but also a symbol for the tree of good and evil? Or yeah, I think it's that one, of good and evil knowledge, and the serpent wrapped around it. I've put it on the screen. Now I'll put it on its side to show you even more. You can see what I'm getting at. Could all this be talking about your eyes, the vision, what you see, the sign, everything? So let's carry on. So the central retinal artery, what I've just showed you, is the first intraorbital branch, like a tree, of the ophthalmic artery. The artery enters the optic nerve, talks about 1 centimeter posterior to the globe, and supplies blood to the retina. And the central retinal artery also, it is the first branch of the ophthalmic artery. It's a terminal branch supplying the inner layer of the retina, and its occlusion can cause sudden visual loss. Travels inferiorly, pardon for that, and within the optic nerve sheath to supply the inner 2/3 of the retina. So it's important. So I want to carry on. So now we're talking about astigmatism, and it always reminds me of it, like a stigmata. And let me just click something off. For some reason I've got an image on that I'm going to reveal in a minute, so I'll just need to put that to one side. See, I'm going to do it on the fly. So this is all about the eyes. So in a person with astigmatism, the cornea is shaped like a football or an egg rather than rounded. This means that when light hits the cornea, rays don't refract or bend properly, known as refractive error. Astigmatism results in distorted vision rather than clear. Now, how we see this world is unique to each of us, and if we have astigmatisms and different other things with our eyes, do we see this realm differently, and how we interpret it, and how you can just say with astigmatism, it's shaped like an egg. And you see a lot of Gnosticism and other occult images of the serpent wrapped around the egg, which is your eye. So you can see why I've included that in it. So there's more. So, what does fruit symbolise? I wanted to show you again, could it be what I'm talking about? The unnamed fruit of Eden thus became an apple under the influence of the story, or the golden apples in the garden of Hesperides. As a result, the apple became a symbol for knowledge, immortality, temptation, and the fall of man and sin. So you can see why I'm connecting all this together. In Shakespeare's day, there was no word for the pupil in an eye, and the phrase apple of the eye was used as an anatomical reference because apples are round and so is the black hole in your eye. So you can just see, are they trying to hide this by just saying, hey, we have no name for it, we'll use it as an apple in regard to the apple in the Eden. So you can see why I'm intrigued with all this. So there's more, hell of a lot more. So right and left visual information cross. This is all related to the eyes and stuff behind the eyes and then in the brain, which I want to show you in reference because it's going to holy things now. So right and left visual information cross to opposite sides of the brain. This crossover occurs in the optic chiasm, I think it's spelled, chiasm. After the optic chiasm, information about the right visual field, blue, is on the left side of the brain, and information about the left visual field, red, is on the right side. And just look at political parties and different things, it's always red and blue, isn't it? So chiasmus derives from the Greek word chiasmos, a word that is chiasane, marked with the letter chi or chi. And you know where I'm going for this. From chi comes chi. Chi is made up of two lines crossing over as in the shape of an X. The line that starts leftmost on top comes down and is rightmost on the bottom and vice versa. What does chiasm mean in Greek? The guide looks at chiasmus, a rhetorical device that is sometimes called chiasm. The word chiasmus is derived from the ancient Greek word meaning crossing or to shape, like the letter X. So you can see where I'm going with this, because obviously the chiasm in regards to your eyes and your visual field is the same as chi. Now, the circulating life energy that in Chinese philosophy is thought to be inherent in all things. In traditional Chinese medicine, the balance of negative and positive forms in the body is believed to be essential for good. You can just say chi and then there's two, the balance, red and blue. You know, can you see where I'm trying to get at this? And chi is also a form of Christendom, what they use a symbol for Christ, the chi rho. So you can see how all this really does connect. The chi rho, a monogram of chi, the X, and rho, the P, as the first two letters of the Greek Christos, meaning Christ. So have a look at the symbol, the chi rho, the P, and the X. But could this show you something else that I've been talking about? And we'll digress, we'll go back to it. So the optical lobe is part of your brain located at the back of your head. Through it's the smallest lobe of your brain. It's still extremely important. That's because the optical lobe processes visual signals or signs sent from your eyes. So we're talking about eyes, we're talking about the occipital lobe, and it's at the back of the brain. Have a look at it again. Is that there what I'm highlighting? The occipital lobe. Occipital. Is it occipital? This occipital. See, I get tongue tied because I'm obviously a little bit dyslexic. So the occipital or occipital lobe is at that, hidden in this chi rho sign. And I'm going to show you now. So look, there you go. You have that lobe bit. And then you have the chi rho at the side. Now, can you see what I'm getting at? You have the X of these things that I was talking about. What they call now, the chiasm, the X. And then you have that oppositable lobe at the back. Is that what it's showing you in this form of Christ? Why not? I'm going to carry on, there's more. So what does the right side of this occipital lobe control? The lobes sit at the back of the head and are responsible for visual perception, including colour, form and motion. Visual perception. Visual perception refers to the brain's ability to make sense of what the eyes see. This is not the same as visual acuity, but you can see what I'm getting at. Understanding visual perception. Visual perception helps us to gather information, process it and give it meaning. How bloody important is that then for this realm that we look around and use our eyes to perceive? That it's all connected to this Chiro religion. The eyes. My head is exploded. Now there's a bit more. Now you saw the Chiro and these lobes, and you've also seen obviously the X, the chiasm or chiasm. Now what is the Christian head church is the Vatican, but it's known as what's it known as? The Holy See. The Holy See. The sea that we sail on is SEA, but no, they called it the Holy See with your eyes. So there you go, there's that chiasm, the X. Is it showing you, in the occult world, the hidden, the holy keys to the heaven and earth? That's the symbol for the Holy See. Is it not what I'm showing you on the screen on the left? The chiasm, and obviously all this regard to the lobe and everything and how we see this world, they've called it the Holy See. It's right in your face. So this is what I had to do, that little disclaimer thing at the beginning, because you can see how that is a lot of information. But I just wanted to show you, hey, if the eyes are the fruit, the eyes are the trees of good and evil and the tree of life, and all that's connected, and how religion is connected to it. Could I be onto something? I'll leave that with you if you can still process any information after that. So as I was editing this section, I just saw something and I thought, wow. So I'm going to just put a little arrow. So this, what I'm highlighting here, what looks like horns, I believe is what's known as the olfactory tract and bulb. Now some say it could be the 11s, the doorways, especially if you look at it in this diagram. But doesn't this diagram also look like jade pillars? It really does, doesn't it? And I think that this has to do with smell and different things. But I digress. Let's go back. So from this diagram that you can see on the screen now, with obviously against the purple key, the keys to heaven and earth, the L11. Look at the olfactory, which sounds like offertory. They even do that in church, offertory. The purple tiara fits in it so well. Now, is that representing the keys and the papal crown? I'll leave that up to you, but I thought, wow. That's what that was like anyway. But you know what, I get easily excited. So I want to take you back to this that you saw about maybe 10 minutes ago. Now, I'm not going to go all the way through it again. I just want to highlight retina, because the central retinal artery, as you can see, is a branch and it supplies blood to the retina. Obviously, with the retina, it's in your eyes. Now, in a very old video, I think it's, even older than the Oculus Occultist, I did another one, a couple on eyes and one on the truth wavelength. Now, in that, I found a link. Now, it is a stretch. I've not been able to replicate it again, but when these things happen, I do like to share with you what my process and how I get to this. So think about the retina being the law, and here's the videos.
Psalm 119:18. Open my eyes that I may see wondrous things from your law. The word, our defense. The Bible should never be studied without prayer. The Holy Spirit alone can cause us to feel the importance of those things easy to be understood, or prevent us from wresting truths difficult of comprehension. It is the office of heavenly angels to prepare the heart so to comprehend God's word that we shall be charmed with its beauty, admonished by its warnings, or animated and strengthened by its promises. We should make the psalmist's petition our own. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law.
So as I was saying, this is from an old video. So as you can see on the screen, you have split up Retina. I clicked it to go forward. It then went Retina of INA of Ina. So I clicked it again. We've got of Ina, and in Latin ex socere sui. I clicked it forward one more time, and ex socere sui became the law. So what's the odds on that? That from Retina, I got the law. And it ain't just the only bit of proof for the eyes being the law, because I've just showed you. What are the odds of that, guys? Right, guys, so what you're going to see now, again, I apologise, it's old clips, it's going to be extended clips, but I wanted to show you the significance and how long I've been looking at this subject of eyes. We have the ties with the eyes and Lucifer. Remember, Lucifer was misspelled, that could be a word, misspelled. Was it done intentionally? Was he the tie with the devil and Satan? Or does it matter? Because they worship Lucifer, the light bringer, and we need light because light is an integral part of sight. Now I'll read something out here which talks about that. It says, light is an integral part of sight, and there is an undeniable link between the two. The visual ability of human is a direct result of the complex interaction between light and our eyes. Without light, there would be no sight. Not all light is the same. So you have these different links with the light, and also their infatuation with the law, the eyes, the sight, and that is why they worship Lucifer, because he is the light bringer. Now I'm going to put all the etymologies for that I've done in it. I want to talk about the Oculus, which is Latin for eye, and remember 9/11, which is an 11. What did they put in its place? A transportation hub called the Oculus. Now the designer, the architect, says this is a dove rising. Well, call it the dove. Call it Latin for dove, whatever that is. You call it the Oculus. It even looks like an eye from above with its eyelashes. So I did a video on that. And also in the surrounding area, there's a lot of eye symbology. So it's important. This is why you see the Black Eye Club and all this malarkey in regard to the eye, the worship of the eye. Because we're showing you in this video the importance of the eye. So that is what is coming up. Hopefully you do accept my apologies in regard to showing you old clips, but I forget half of this, and that's why I go through all my other videos and put them in clips to put into the video, because you need a quick refresher. If I show you a big wow and you're like, why is he showing me that? Why is he talking about I remember it? Because they're in videos, some of them are 3 to 5 years old. So that's why I'm putting it all in. All this to do with the eye and the worship of the eye. You're going to love it, guys, and you're going to be wowed, because I do even today, revisiting these old videos. So you've been warned. So I was going to show you the old video clips, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to use a little bit of it, but then I'm progressing it, because as I've been editing and researching for this video, I came across some more etymology, or spell etymology as I call it, for Lucifer. So I'm not going to go over what I've previously done, but if you all want to watch it, just go to my page and you look for Disciples of Lucifer. Basically it's about the eyes, but I want to progress it, so I want to carry on now. So as we all know, Lucifer, as we've been told, means light bringer. And we've told you about how light is essential to your eyes, and vision is another name for the devil. Evil at your door, remember from the old etymology. This is because people interpret. Remember, interpret is key to how we see. I've already talked about that already in your perspective. This is because people interpret a message in the book of Isaiah of the Bible in a certain way. Lucifer is Latin. It is made of 2 parts, lux and lucis, meaning light, and ferre, to bring. So I wanted to progress this again, and I did in that old video that I've just showed you, the clip, Disciples of Lucifer. But as I get excited, I found another etymology as I'm doing this video, and I'm going to go over that now. Still connected to the eyes like the other one, but it progresses it more. So what does the root Lu mean? Now in the spell etymology videos I break it down. So Lu means a prefix used to form diminutive nouns or to describe something as evil. That should be a wow in itself. What's funny, and we talked about our devil, the Lucifer, is connected to 666, and that's connected to our bodies, the carbon. So it was funny that I found in Tibetan the word for body is Lu, which means in Tibetan something you leave behind, like baggage. That was intriguing. So I wrote Lucifer down. You saw Lucifer means something is evil. The etymology of CI is an expressive amplification of Latin meaning to be here, most probably hicker, in a directional meaning like come here. From the meaning here, the step to grammaticalization as an objective pronoun meaning us is small here, and us correspond directly. And then obviously the FER in Lucifer, as you can see, means around, across, or away from, or off, fully, or fury, meaning before, forth, and forward, and akin to High German verb meaning fur. So how intriguing is that? You can see it's talking about the vision, our eyes, and Lucifer being before or being brought forward to us or here, or something evil. So as I was talking about, hey, how about the Garden of Eden and the serpent, all those connections, and that's tagged to being Lucifer or the devil. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? I want to put all this together. So if the lightbringer, and you can see it, the etymology that I've broke it down. So I want to progress this, and yes, I found more stuff that I can tie it to Janus. I've showed you previously, but I've got new people all the time. So interestingly enough, Janus or Janus is also associated with Lucifer, another fire and light deity, lightbringer. Janus brings the light. According to this and other old books, Janus guarded the entryways to every Roman home and the gates of every Roman city. That's one of his things. Gates, doors, your eyes. It guards them. Janus in gematria is 65. 6 and 5 is an 11. Lucifer in gematria is 74. 7 and 4 is 11. After this clip, I will show you the old clip showing you how your eyes are basically in 11. So you can just see the connection. So I want to progress this further, and this next little bit I have to thank Sam Carno for this, because he was just asking me what I'm doing next, and I told him, and he said, hey, have a look at this. And I've added this thing to what we're coming up now to connect it to what I'm trying to get in this video. So upon their marriage, Janus became the god of 3 faces rather than 2, since Janus, and that's Janus Bifrons, his 2 faces, could now see the past, the present, and the future. But only Cardia, the hinge and other things, the cardinals in the church, saw his 3rd face. For in this face, Cardia could see the fullness of Janus, as he experienced life with all its love and joy and goodness and happiness and peace. So there's a connection, obviously, with Janus being the past, the present, and the future. And you can see on old coins, even on the reverse, some of them have 3 faces, while the other has 2. Remember, 2 faces, Janus Bifrons. You now have him with 3 faces. Now, the reason I'm tying Lucifer and light is because we've also this old meme and images about how our vision is very uncanny and very similar to Lucifer's sigil, the bringer of light. It's uncanny, isn't it? And I've also showed you the things already in the chiasm and the cross and the X, which are behind the eyes. It seems to be all connected, doesn't it? So I want to progress and carry on from what I've just basically told you. Now, this is what Sam sent me. Basically, what we perceive as a present is actually a slightly delayed version of reality. It takes time for light to travel and reach our eyes, and then for the brain to process that information. This means we always are seeing in the past, however small the delay might be. So you can get my head around it. I've just connected the lightbringer with Janus, the one and the same, according to some people. And we see in the past. What was one of the etymologies of Lucifer again? The Proto-European German "für," meaning before, forth, or forward. Could that be the past, the present, and the future? Before is in the past. Forth could be now. Hence, what does called forth mean? To cause something to come into action or existence. So it's in the present. So could our eyes be connected to Janus in the sense of we see, and with our brain we are seeing things before, the forth, and in the future, because according to researchers and going along now, our brains can predict certain things in the future. For instance, like tennis players and sports people like that, they can predict where the path of the ball is going, and we can do it. We can predict the path of something. That's why we get there, and it seems like we're an uncanny sixth sense type of thing. And they're called ganglions that help to do this process. I'm just blown away, guys, because, you know, I don't want people to say, oh, well, he's bringing Janus into everything. I have to show you what's in my head. And when we're talking about vision and how it's tied to the sigil of Lucifer, I showed you the etymology, meaning something evil. Why are they changing it? Because obviously the etymology is different. It was in Latin and it got mistranslated or misspelled. And it's talking about the present, the future, and what was in the past. Look, in Tibetan, it means something you leave behind. So in the past, the etymology of ci, here, and the Proto-European German "für," meaning before, forth, and forward. So it's combining all of them. And Janus had 3 heads. And look, as you look on the vision, there is A, B, and C. The past, the present, and the future, because it's all light, or different amplifications of light and different types of light. This actually just dropped my jaw to the ground and past and beyond. When I'm putting these videos together, I'm putting in, and I thought, hey, I want to show the old Lucifer video and how that's connected to the eyes. Well, I've progressed it, and I'm shocked. I'm excited and emotional. I will leave that for you guys and see what you think on that, but that has just bowled me away. So before I show you that clip about your eyes and all the connections to the 11s that most of you saw in the odd video, when you search for something, you are basically trying to find something by looking, or otherwise seekingly, carefully and thoroughly, an act of searching for something or something. You're using your eyes. So it's funny that one of the biggest search engines, Google, who's basically had for a while in the past, had the sigil to match the Lucifer sigil. How crazy is that? You know, not saying much, are we? Then, if you break down Google to mean go ogle, what does ogle mean? To stir at in a lecherous manner, a lecherous look. And if you think about it, ogle, you could basically, the EL could be Elohim or a god. So you could go stir at the lecherous god, or the lights, as they say, the light bringers. Crazy, isn't it? That you can just say a search engine, go ogle, Google, and they had the sigil of Lucifer for a while. Makes you think, doesn't it? Now all those 11s now, in regard to the eye being the doorway, the gateway, the windows of the soul. So, as we're talking about this fine structure constant, and obviously 137, and we know it's basically a measure, it controls, it's a strength, it's a judge, it's a jury over the electromagnetic force. It basically governs it, and it governs how electric charge, element particles, electrons, muons, etc., and light photons interact. So That's got me intrigued because I want to ask, is it connected to how we see? See, when we look at things, light hits an object, it is reflected by that object and then travels in straight lines back to our eyes. So our eyes taking some of the light and information is sent to the brain. That is how we see an object. So if it's connected to this realm and how the protons, etc., interact with each other and create the radiation, create the light, it's key to how we see this realm around us. And that ties in with some 11s that I found connected to our eyes. So I'm going to play the old clip now, and you'll just see why I'm just getting excited. It's like a hidden key that I've found that makes everything go, wow, I know why this 11 is so important to this realm now. What you're actually seeing here is your angles, your field of view. So let's add the numbers up. 6 add 6 add 7 add 5 add 9 add 5 equals 38. That's 3 add 8, that's 11. That's that number again. So if you don't like using those numbers, let's actually just add the numbers together as well. 60 add 75 add 60 add 95, that's 290. 9 add 2 equals 11. So whatever way we look at it, our eyes see in the number 11. The doorway, the portal, everything is a frequency, a vibration, and energy. Who has the keys of the frequency keys? And that is Janus. Is that why he's so influential? Just blows my mind. And something else that blows my mind. I've just showed you the 11s in regards to the field of view. But look at this, guys. The visual spectrum ranges from about 380 to 740 nanometers. Spectral colours that are produced by a narrow bandwidth of wavelengths such as red, orange, yellow, green, cyan or cyan, blue and violet can be found in this range. Just look at the visual light spectrum. 380. 3 add 8 is, yes, you got it, 11. And it goes to 740. 7 add 4 is, I don't know, wait, 11. The bloody visual light spectrum is 1111. I've been talking about this 11 for so long, and I'm just proving it and I'm proving it. And yes, it's a theory, but wow, guys, come on. How many 11s does it need for people to realise, you know what, there's something to this. We're seeing in 11 the doorway, Janus's number. This is just so cool. It blew my mind when I found this. And then I found another 11 in regard to the eyes, and that's coming up now. I just had to re-edit a few things because I wanted to keep them all together in regard to the eye. But I'm just mind blown. So that other bit of the 11 is the volume of the eye, and I'll talk about this now coming up. Wasn't that fascinating, guys? I mean, I know some of you have seen my old videos, but how much information do we hold and store? That's hence on the doorway effect and the atmospheric memory, but you know what I mean. And when you then put it all in context together, it starts to paint a different picture. I mean, we're talking about obviously the eyes, and I came across this the other day. So we're looking with the 11s, field of view, like owls, is a doorway. We're peering through the veil. It's all frequencies. And look at this, guys. I mean, how many times do we go, wow, when we're looking in the adult human, the volume of the orbit, which is, you know, the eye socket, what it's held in, is 13 milliliters, 1.6 imp fluid ounces. In US, it's 1.01 US ounce. Hidden 11. Well, let's carry on. Of which the eye occupies, so the space the eye occupies is 6.5 milliliters, or mLs, whatever it is. I'm just saying milliliters. And it talks about 0.23 imp fluid ounces. So come on, guys. Again, the eyes are 11, and the space the eye occupies is 6.5, which is, yes, you got it, in 11. Wow. We live in the realm of L11. If you remember through the video, we're talking about the actual volume of the eye added to 11. Coincidence, maybe. Then we're talking about the visual light spectrum range being both 11. Again, coincidence not. So we've seen these 11s everywhere. Obviously Lucifer added to 11 also. Janus opens to 11. I've talked about the realm of 11, the realm we live in. And then the field of view added to 11. I mean, come on, how many times has this got be a coincidence for people to take notice and say, you know what, you might be onto something here. I just don't know what will. And this it's just really shaking me, a good shaking, because it's wow. So we've got all those 11s in regard to the eye. Yeah, that's really good, Paul. Then I was just about to finish, and I'm no expert on this, I'm not even a beginner, so you know, if I get this wrong, so be it, but the main points of it is a certain number, and it's about the human eye. So the human eye contains a molecule, right? Molecule. Look at that word firstly, molecule. Does it not sound like Moloch? Molecule. Moloch. Janus is Moloch. Anyway, so the human eye contains a molecule. Guess what it's called? It's called 11-cis retinal. Come on, guys. This is huge. How much more do I have to show people to not be made a mockery of? And I'm just going to read a little bit out of it, because obviously I don't even know really what it is. The human eye contains a molecule called 11-cis, cis retinal, that changes conformation when struck with light of sufficient energy. The change in conformation triggers a series of events that results in an electrical signal being sent to the brain. So this is hugely significant, right? And it's called 11-cis retinal. But it doesn't just stop there. The minimum energy required to change the conformation of 11-cis retinal within the eye is about 164 kilojoules mole. So 164, oops, another 11, and molecule or Moloch, the owl, Janus, and that is in regard to the wavelength and the vision in the eye. Come on, guys, I want please make this sense. I feel like I found something. It's all tying together, and it's all about the 11s and how we see this realm, and we're in the realm of 11. Right, guys, so that was the quick roundup of the old clips in regard to the eye and 11, and tell me you're not blown away. They're from old videos, and now that you put them back into perspective with this 173, and basically that governs the light, the radiation, and we need that to see. And the things that we need to see is the volume of the eye adding to 11, the vitamin A, cis retinal 11, the minimum charge needed is 164, the field of view adding to 11. So basically how we see in this realm is all 11s. So we're living in the realm of 11 and we need 11s to see. Tell me, you cannot be so excited about, wow, all this put together. It's just revealing a lot more secrets. It is crazy. Well, you know how excited I get. Right, I bet you thought this little section was done. Now, I'm being honest, so did I. But with fresh eyes, just coming back, I always just quickly look at the last few minutes to, to gain momentum again and where I'm going with the video. And I said to myself, what if? And I have you guys in my head all the time, like asking questions. So I did it, and then I found this. So you just seen all the, my evidence showing you all the 11s in the eye, even the realm we're in now with this 137, everything to show you the governance, everything on this 11s. Then I find this, and I just get the tingles. The bewildering complexity of the human eye speaks eloquently of an almighty creator. The eye's retina is less than 1 square inch in surface area, but it contains 137 million light-sensitive receptor cells. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good.
So hopefully in this video I'm showing you the importance of the eye and why they worship it so much, and why it's basically in every orifice of our cultures, whether it's supernatural, whether it's spiritual, you name it. Even the so-called Elites worship the eye, and architects and masons and things. Take this for instance, what you're looking on the screen is what's known as the Pantheon in Rome. Now, all these buildings, all these big domes, most of them used to have a circle in the roof. This is what is known as a Oculus. Yep, the same one as your eye. I mean, it even looks like an eye, doesn't it? So we have things like the St. Paul's Cathedral, the Washington Capitol building. I believe that's been filled in now, but it used to have an Oculus in it. And obviously the Pantheon I'm talking about. I mean, what other domes have an Oculus in around the world? Let me know in the comments. So as you know, it looks like an eye, but they are progressing. So they want to build a modern Oculus. And they did that in New York. You know New York, the 11th state. Just look at now in the remnants of the Twin Towers. Look at it. It looks like the huge dark pit. It looks like an angel coming from the pit. But they say this is what is known as... Yep, I still laugh when I say it. They believe this is a dove rising. Well, why does it look like an eye or a fly trap? But it doesn't stop there. There's some significance and hidden 11s in the Oculus, but also under it. And I want to show you an old clip now showing you this. Hopefully I've still got you and you're still awake. So people will have you believing the following is a coincidence. It's just a coincidence, Paul. That's all it is. The angle of the windows is particularly placed so that every year on the anniversary of 9/11, which is in 11, the sun shines directly through the skylight and illuminates the main hall at 10:28 a.m. 10:28 is a hidden 11. 1 or 2 add 8. You got it, is an 11. And I know people have different theories on what hit and not hit, but you know what I mean. So the eye opens at 9:11, which is an 11, at 10:28, which is an 11, to illuminate whomever is in attendance. But that's just a coincidence.
It's called Oculus, 15,000 tons of steel reaching more than 25 stories tall. Famed architect Santiago Calatrava designed the hub to resemble a bird rising. Its archways will house 11 subway lines, and officials estimate 250,000 commuters every day.
A democracy should be building important buildings for people. It's nice to arrive in the city in an exhilarating place that sort of gives you a lift.
Have a look what's underneath and close by to the Oculus in the subway. This clip took me back. So a long time ago I did spell etymology of the word Oculus for this whole video, and here's what I found. Wow, it is. Right guys, here's the wow moment for me. As you can see, if you put Oculus in to Latin and convert, you don't really get much. It just keeps repeating, or it might even come up the eye, which we all know. Let's see if I can just put on here just so I can be fair and show you. You know what I mean? I always like to be straight down the middle. Can you see it? You don't really get much because can you see that? There you go. The oculus, the eye. So oculus means eye. Wait, it's a dove, but we'll still call it the eye. Yeah, right. What an idiot. Right. So as you can see, I've split the oculus up so it gives you ol nobis. And to say, not only is my hair being blew off, my mind's been exploded, my beard is fell off because of what I'm going to show you now. And it just makes sense. So we'll start off with, what do you want to start off with? Oh, I'll tell you what, while I heard you, the OUL. So let's have a look what OUL, and I found different things on it. But like I said, I'm using this because it works for me. And like I said, I've not made it up, I have found it. OUL, noun, plural, owls, obsolete form of owl. What there is Moloch. And Moloch, the owl. They have the Bohemian Grove owl. You have the owl on the dollar bill. And their worship of it. There you go, guys. Tell me. When I found this, when I found the next bit, I was like, boom, my jaw dropped. And then when I seen both of these together, if my jaw could drop anymore, I just don't know how I find this. I just don't. So you can see the OUL. What's it? The OUL is an obsolete form of owl. Tell me you're just not like, oh my god. Right, here we go. The next bit. The nobis. The different things you can see. There will be no one as happy as us. Us, the world belongs to us. So you have the owl, and it means the world belongs to us. So you just saw the owl nobis in the Latin converter, and I thought, what is owl nobis in gematria? And lo and behold, it's 461. 4 add 6 add 1 equals 11. The eyes, the gate, the doorway, Janus' number. But Janus is also another name for Lucifer, as I've showed you many times before. So that intrigued me. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to look a little bit into the OUL a little bit more, because I forgot about it, being honest, and it just fascinated me. Obviously, the link with the old spelling of the word owl. So as you can see on the right, if you put an E on it, it's owl with an E. And remember, LE is something godly divine. And if you look at this, you can see owl, noun, also OUL, the old spelling of owl, and look at some of the definitions for it. It blew me away. An owl, horned, a horned owl, hurt, the figure of an owl on a shield, a pictorial representation of an owl, flight, twilight. And look at number 2, a name for Satan, of hell. B, as a term of abuse and type of ugliness, as a type of spiritual blindness. In Proverbs, sayings and comparisons. So it's talking about spiritual blindness. And I'm showing you how Lucifer is the sight, is the light, in regard how we see this realm. And again, they've been put together, and maybe it's a form of what your opinion shows. Is it evil? Is it light? Is it good? Or is it neither? Is it just is? And how we use the light is evil or good. And that's what I think about a lot of things. It's the intent of the use of something. In Christian symbolism, the owl stands for the devil and his works. So you can just see a broad range how the owl has been tarred, rightly or wrongly. Hence why they mistranslated Lucifer with the devil and evil. They want to control the light, the flow of information. Was it done on purpose? Occultists like to use the owl as one of their secret symbols because they can see things that the average person from the public cannot. And possibly why the owl is labelled dark and evil, and why demons are associated with them. You'll see associated with, evil, like there's Moloch, there's the Prince of Hell has an owl, there's Lilith, there's so many people that's associated with it. And it got me back to this old painting from Giuseppe Porto Detto Salviati that I covered a long time ago, and it's a presentation of Jesus to the temple. I mean, come on, there's so much symbolism in this painting, but just look at who's holding the baby. Jesus. You have like a black pope entity, evil at the side, and what looks like Moloch or an owl holding the baby. Right guys, I'll try again. I've had to make so many versions of this because every time I start recording, a car decides to pull up nearby and pap the horn. It's like I've got a big sign on the front of the house. Pap now! Get something free! So, what I wanted to intersect here is, because I know some of you at home or wherever you are watching this will be thinking of the left eye, the black-eyed left eye. And obviously the celebrities, if you've not saw that, celebrities for many years have been pictured with black eyes on the left eye. Now, some will say, and the mainstream press will say, it's an accident. But there's a lot of theories on it. I've done a video on it at the Black Eyed Club a very long time ago, 3 to 5 plus years, because I've been re-editing it over the years to quickly change it, and it's been many moons. No pun intended. And the reason I say that moon is because the left eye is also being associated with the moon. And another name for a moon god was sin. So you have a little connection there with the left eye and sin. And I've talked about sin and sine waves and light in previous videos. God is seen as light. Lucifer is seen as light. Light, like fibre optics, brings knowledge and information. Hence the link with the Oculus and all those things. So in this video, I basically showed you different theories of what people were talking about. Then I just give you mine. Now mine was a wow back in the day, and even now it feels more symbolic because of what we've seen in this video. So I talked about how the left eye, people are talking about as being the eye of Horus or the Wadjet or whatever. But if you look at the eye of Horus, and Horus, is really has been seen as a good guy on a whole. So that didn't sit well to me. It's like, well, if these people, the El-shites as I call them, why would they be sacrificing it to Horus, the left eye? Then you look into it when the Greek influence in Egypt came, and they changed it and morphed Horus a little bit. Horus the Younger, his name was Harpocrates. So Harpocrates, like the Oprah Winfrey production company, is called Harpo. Now Harpocrates is associated with obviously the left eye, obviously the eye of Horus, but as Harpocrates. What also do you see celebrities doing apart from the black eye? You see him going shh. Harpocrates is the god of secrets, silence and confidentiality, amongst many other things. And you'll see his sculptures, and I'll put a few on the screen even above me or in the corner on the top or covering my face. And he's starting to bring his finger over his mouth. You'll either see him like this or you'll see him like this. Depends which one you get. Now that starts to make more sense. Yes, they're doing this ritual because they're doing a ritual to a god and they want to keep it silent. They don't want you knowing, but it's like the divine law that they have to show the hand without showing the hand, hidden in plain what? Plain sight. So that got my interest going, because in other images, Harpocrates has an altar to his left. Could your eye be seen as an altar and a connection to the gods? You see, you know, because it's all to do with light, knowledge, information and whatnot. And I'll put, like I said, I'll put images on the screen with his finger to his mouth, but to his left, his altar has a serpent going around it, wrapped round like the optic nerve on the eye that I was showing you earlier. And as I'm making this video and I'm thinking about going through all videos to clip in, I'm like, I've talked about Harpocrates, and look to his left. He has a serpent wrapped round, just as I've been talking earlier about the serpent in regard to, you know, what I was talking about, and the eye. And I'm like, wow. So that got me thinking. Just quickly I looked. If the eye is an altar, is there any verses that connect the eye with altars in the Bible as an in your face message? And there's this one, and I'll read it out so you can quite see it. It's from 1 Samuel 2:33. Now there's different versions of it, but this is basically the gist of it. So, and the man of thine, so and the man of thine, so thine is like another word for thee or yours. So, and the man of yours, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar. So straight away is this message telling you that if you don't watch what you're doing, I'm going to cut you off from my altar, my light. And then it goes on, shall be to consume thine eyes. So let's read that out again. And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be to consume thine eyes, and to grieve thine heart, and all of the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of the age. So, does your eye, when you zoom in, you've seen all these pictures that you've even included in the video, does your eye not look like a flower? Does your eye not come from the etymology of age? Did I not show you that earlier in regard to time? Wow. And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be consumed thine eyes. Wow. And there's various other things on the eye in regard to sin. Let me find it while I'm actually recording. And then you can see how fly I do. I'm really spontaneous in regards to when I do things, guys. I really am. That's just how I do it. So as I'm doing, I can just search engine. See, here we go. Let's see if we can find one. There we go. So there's various Bible verses in regard to eyes and sin and that. And one says, and if your eye causes you to sin, why would your eye cause you to sin? Would it not be the thing behind it? You looking. But that's just how they taught, isn't it? So it says, and if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life with one eye than to have two eyes and to be thrown into the fire of hell. So it's talking about your eyes and sin. That's what I'm basically trying to get at in this ritual, the sin ritual, of our eyes being an altar and worshipping and things that we see. Because the information then we then, you know, with your brain, basically decode that information, that light, and put it into patterns we see in the past, the present, and the future. The ritualistic nature of our eyes goes unseen. No pun intended. So you can see why I'm excited. People will be talking about the Black Eye Left Club, and them talking about, is it because this is seen as an altar and they are breaking it down, they're showing you the basically like a sacrifice, a ritual sacrifice on an altar. It's been bloodied. They're putting the bloody thing down, bloody, not swearing, but bloody, because they've been boofed in it, and the eye's gone black, sometimes bloodshot. Crazy. And what's intriguing as well about Hippocrates, now I remember from the old video, he is associated with the rose also. And you'll see from various other things like the CIN and the MI5 or MI6, there's always a rose on the logo. Whether it's a compass rose, but it's still a rose. Associated with the rose. And we've talked about even Crowley is doing this with his finger and covering his eye. His wife was named Rose. It's like they look for these patterns and connections. It's all a big ritual to them. So that's why I want to put this little bit in. Quickly show you, hey, people will talk about the Black Eye Club. Could it be them ritualistically sacrificing the altar on the altar? I'm really enjoying this video, and hopefully you guys are. It's a lot of hard work. People don't sometimes realise why it takes so long. I put a lot of effort in. I really am like flaked when I've done a video because the adrenaline's gone. You know what I mean? It's I try and make short ones, but that's why, you know, I get so excited to share what's in this crazy head. And this is another video of it. All this, what you're seeing today, has come from something that I'm not divulging just yet, and that will blow your mind if you don't know it. If you do, damn you. Right, let's carry on. Not much left though before my thoughts. Not much left, I promise. So I'm gonna finish here, and just after this is why I made the video, and it will make sense why I've made it. And I think I might have to make a lot more videos on this topic if you guys enjoy it, because I have a lot of videos that I've done over the years and you forget about the theories, and now you can merge them and connect them all in one. So I've just been talking about the eyes at the altar. Now here's just a diagram of a face, front and side view. What's that thing circled called? Oh, it's the tip of my tongue. Oh yes, a temple. Where are the eyes? They're in between the temple. It's always been there, and no pun intended, hidden in plain sight. So how do we see in this realm? We need light, and the light has always been referred to as divine, hence why I played that bit from Genesis a while ago. By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good.
The concept of the divine is light is a common theme across various religious and philosophical traditions, representing God or a higher power as a source of illumination, knowledge and truth. It signifies a radiant, all-encompassing presence that reveals and guides. So it's essential to how we see and basically decode this realm. different lights, different frequencies. It's mind-blowing. So God is known as a divine light. We're seeing through his altars, the eyes, or whatever way you want to describe it. But what's the basic form of an altar mean? An altar symbolizes a place of worship, offering. I've talked about offerings and sacrifices, and a connection with the divine. We connect to the divine through the light with our eyes. Open my eyes that I may see wondrous things from your law. Different gods may have different frequencies of light. In many religions, it's a raised structure used for sacrifices, prayers, or other religious rites. It represents a space where the natural and the spiritual worlds intersect. The chiasm, the cross, the 11, fostering a sense of sacredness and divine presence, like the Godhead or the circumpunct that I've done many videos over the years on. I'm just blown away when you look at it like this, that our eyes and why they're so worshipped, because they are our connection with the divine. And obviously you have the role reversal to evil, etc, etc, and I've done many videos on that. So you can see how significant the eye is, and how we can sin using our eyes, and that's a big clue and the final reveal to what I'm going to show now on what made me make this video. So guys, we're at the final stretch now and I'll be showing you what made me make this video. It seems like I've been telling that for every 5 minutes, but I keep wanting to add because I want to show you what's in his crazy head, and sometimes that's too much. So we've just finished talking about obviously the eyes and the altar, and we will get to why I showed you in a split second. But this verse in the Bible just made me think about why the eyes, obviously the windows of the soul, or the doors, whatever you want to call it. So Matthew 6:22-23, the eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. See? But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? So you can interpret that how you want, but basically I see it as basically like food, and what you eat is what you are. So if you're eating shit and crap, basically inside will reflect that. So are they saying here that whatever you see through the altar, the sacrificial altars in the temple, affects our soul? I don't know. But it's intriguing, is it? Because it's basically saying, you know, whatever you feed through your eyes will affect you. So is that why we're bombarded, and why it's linked to sin? Because the concept of sin and eyes often refers to the idea that a person's gaze can be a source of temptation or sin, particularly in the context of sexual desire. This idea is explored in the Bible, particularly in the teachings of Jesus in Matthew, what we're just talking about. But I want to progress it slightly. So we've been talking about the eyes and sin and different things. So what you can see now is the etymology of the letter I. It comes from O. Obviously the letter O became the I. So O's, the most ancient ancestor, is the I character contained within the Egyptian hieroglyphs. The inventors of the first alphabet, the Semitic workers living in Egypt around 2000 BC, allotted this symbol a glottal sound and called it ayin, meaning I. So obviously the I is O. Now you think, why is he talking about O now? This will come out in a few minutes, because it's all connecting. So is Ayin Hara real? The evil eye is known as Ayin Hara in Judaism. It's a real force mentioned many times in the Talmud and Kabbalistic works. So it's talking about the evil eye. Obviously people talk about the evil eye a lot, and in this particular faith are talking as it's a real force. Hence why I'm talking about, can evil, the frequency, the light bearer, can it manipulate our bodies like that verse, whatever you feed in can affect you. So you can see why I'm showing you this. So who is iron in the Bible? Iron is closely associated with the Ein Sof, Hebrew, without end, which is understood as the deity prior to his self-manifestation in the creation of the spiritual and physical realms, single infinite unity beyond any description or limitation. So you can see it's crazy when we're talking about the eye and where it came from, and obviously it's tied to sin. So this is because I've been on the Making Sin and video on the poisoned apple lately, as you can work. I'm going to show you a clip of that because it really matters. So why did I make this video? Because as I was researching and looking into this in regard to the eye of it a lot lately, you see an image of an eye, a left eye, and I was shocked. I really was blown away. It's like, how did I not see this? I must have saw it because I've been looking at the eye for so many years, but for whatever reason I wasn't ready to make a video or comment because it just didn't, twig in me. So Latin term for left eye is Oculus sinister, or often abbreviated as OS. Come on guys, this is why I briefly talked in the video of left as being associated with evil for a long time, and you telling me the term for left is sinister, but obviously left eye is Oculus sinister. Wow. So your left eye is known as Oculus sinister. And as you know, sinister means something threatening, evil, harm or danger. How crazy is that? So again, sinister, Latin for left, indicates that the left hand side is regarded by the bearer. Again, so if we are the bearer, who carries the dead? A pallbearer. I know it's a light bearer. And I actually did etymology on that in the Lucifer video. The bearer's proper left, and to the right is seen by the viewer. So it's saying in ancient times that the left was evil, and that's where the term the left eye, Oculus sinister. So this ties in, and it's what inspired me for all the video. It's mad. So it mentions the Latin term for left eye is Oculus sinister, or abbreviated as OS. Now straight away, because obviously I've made videos on it, the OS to me was operating system. So this will tie in to people who talk about a simulation. Is there an artificial light, an artificial force counteracting the creator's light, which I've just showed you? So why is an operating system, or what is an operating system? The operating system acts as a mediator between the user and the computer's hardware. It communicates with the different parts of the computer, which is us, such as CPU, memory, storage devices, input-output devices, to ensure that they all work together smoothly to execute commands from applications. I'm blown away. So is the left eye the operating system for the body in regard to different things? We showed you where the left eye goes to the right-handed brain and what that has to do with your perspective. Tell me you're not blown away. Now, a lot of people love me when I show the Janus stuff, and some don't, but this is why it blows me away. Now, I've talked about it so far on all the links with Lucifer. We've just mentioned that OS acts as a mediator. Janus, or Janus, was also an augur, and an augur was a priest or an official in Roman world. His main role was the practice of augury, the interpretation of the will of the gods by studying the events he observed through a predetermined sacred space, a templum. We're talking about your eyes, but this is not, but this is what I'm referring to. The templum corresponds to the heavenly space above. So he was an augur, and Janus as the founder of sacrifice and divination, since he can see the past, the future through his two faces. That's a Janus Biffer on stage, but we talked about his three-headed phase state. Tell me you're not blown away. So I've just showed you in this what inspired me. with the left eye known as Oculus sinister, and that's why I've made all the video. So just before I find a clip, because if you remember on my Apple video, an Apple operating system is known as iOS. And I found out in Greek what iOS is. So I will finish with that. Then I will really finish before my thoughts. And now we're on to the operating system of the phone itself. It's iOS. So if none of you out there know, I'll quickly read it out what iOS stands for. iPhone operating system. Apple iOS stands for iPhone operating system, and it's designed for use with Apple's multi-touch devices. The mobile OS supports input through direct manipulation and responds to various user gestures such as pinching, tapping and swiping, so with your fingers basically. But what I found interesting, and I'll emphasize on something in a minute, also iOS basically in Greek means virus. As you can see on the screen, I've put it on the screen. So you've had bad, evil, and now virus. Right guys, so you just saw that about iOS, but I want to leave you with this. I've showed you a few 11s in the video. I've been talking about the eye, talking about evil, different things, so much in this video. And this stood out to me and it just blew me away. I was like, come on. I mean, what are the odds on that? I mean, sorry, talking about odds, a friend of the channel, I will just say Blue Sky, sent me something yesterday, because I don't really watch the press or the news and whatnot because I'm that busy. But if, as you've been well aware, there's been a plane crash with everyone bar one person died on the plane, according to the press. Now, that one person was sitting in a seat. Now, you can think of the odds of everyone dying bar one person. Now, ask yourself, what seat was that person sitting in? And that person was sitting in 11A. So, thank you for that. That just blew me away. It was worth a mention. Only survivor, and it sits in number 11. And that ties in what I want to say. So, sinister means left. I think Dexter meant right, like the TV series of The Killer. However, as a language evolves, sinister means evil, and so left-handed is evil because, and here we go guys, I don't know where I found this, I wish I remembered, because the 11% of a given population that are left-handed are actually possessed by Lucifer Morningstar himself. I don't know where I found it, I don't know if I could try to find it, but it just blew me away. These are projecting the 11% again. How would you know how many people are left-handed in the world? There's no constant poll, is there? So they're projecting this, but they're talking about the left, and there's 11% of people that are left-handed. Wow. Just wow. So, my thoughts now, guys.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right guys, as always, I want to say a big thank you. Really does humble me that you guys still watch the channel today, are liking, sharing and subscribing. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a community, and a good community, not the community I talk about. You guys make me want to come back each time making content. So I want to say a thank you for doing that and supporting me. It keeps me going, so thank you. So anyone else, if you want to help the channel out even more, so you can just like, share and subscribe. If you want to do, you can always buy me a coffee. The barcode is in the video right there, and it's in the description. And truly I want to appreciate anyone that's done that, because life is hard, but that really does keep me and the channel going. So thank you so much. So let's on with the video. And what can I say? I made an 1.5 hour video just for something I found a month ago, maybe, when I was doing like the poisoned apple video, and it inspired me to make this. It inspired me again to dive right back into the eye and everything that the eye is connected, because I've covered it God, 5-7 years ago. You can just see from the old clips that I've put in the video. And if you want to watch some of them videos, because some of them are not on the channel anymore, because obviously the original Black Sheep got deleted. So if you do want to check them out, just go to Odyssey and type in Odyssey the Black Sheep Researcher, and they're all on there. And you can see 5 years ago that was put on, so that's about 7-8 years ago. So it's crazy, and you can just see why it intrigues me. And over the years, I've done many videos looking at all aspects. Some aspects are the Black Eyed Club, and I always used to bug me, like, because on a whole, Horus was supposed to be like a protector, amongst many other things he does. He was generally seen as a good guy, and that got me not confused but query. Why would the so-called elites, who are supposedly evil, worship Horus, the eye Horus? So then when that made me originally go, hey, let me look at the significance of the light. And I looked into it and thought, well, when the Greeks came in, Horus got changed to Harpocrates, and he was a god then of god of silence. That's why they did that. Secrets, confidentiality, and everything. So then that made me go, wow, that does now make sense. And obviously you got Harpo Productions, you have Harp, the frequency machine that's manipulating the weather. You can see those many years ago what I was looking into, and it intrigues you. So you then say, that then makes sense, doesn't it? But that's why I carried on looking at the eye in regard to being the moon and sin, and putting all this connection. That's why I can see why these guys are worshipping and getting a black eye. But then finding out that the left eye in ancient times was known as the Oculus sinister made me go, like the evil, Dr. Evil, is it? I think it is. And that made me think, hey, now if they're like getting damaged in the eye, could that be a form of initiation or a ritual sacrifice of the body with a bruising and bloody, like they're offering up a sacrifice? And now that I'm theorizing that the eyes are altars, because that is where, according to science, the light in our eyes goes, and that is our divine connection to the gods. So if the light is the divine connection to the gods, basically like laser beams into the eye, now that makes sense, that why it is getting sacrificed. And if you damage it or manipulate it, because people will talk about virile drones and different things, and these things are in regard to the eye. If you change the eye, change the frequency, change its depth, whatever, you manipulate it, you're altering, you're basically a ritualistic nature of damaging or modifying the altar. That now starts to make sense, and it sounds more ominous. And that just because obviously you have reference to Lucifer being the lightbringer, and obviously Latin for light is lux. Well, when we did the breaking down of Lucifer, I did it a few times in the video, the old video on it, spell etymology Lucifer. I did Lu and then cipher, like a code. But obviously when I revisited it in this video and seeing what I put in originally, that LU means something evil. Well, lux is light. So they're saying, is there an evil light? Then you had obviously Sith before, forth, forward, and fur, you know, past, present, and future. So all those different things, and you're like, wow. So obviously the light bringer, the light bearer, starts to make more and more sense. It's all connected to the eyes, and that's why I did the original video many moons ago called The Disciples of Lucifer, because obviously the eye is apple in Latin, and malum, which turns to bad. So you can see the circle of it. We are pupils. This was all in the video. I didn't put all of it in it because I've put too much information as it is. So if we are here to learn and we get older and our eyes change, does that see how we change? Because there's so much I didn't put in this video because I wanted to talk about obviously the eyes in regard to the pineal gland and the circumpunct, all these videos that I've done on. But I just thought I'm going to try and keep to this, and I can always come back and do other videos. But I'm really stuck, not stuck in the sense of I don't know what I'm talking about, which yeah I do really, but stuck in the sense of talking about these altars. The eyes are the altars, because obviously that reference to that verse, you know, open thou mine eyes so you can see wondrous things out of my law. You know, we judge people. What do you judge people by? You know, so it's like that this is something that is gone unseen. All this reference to the eyes, and I've only put a fraction in it, so people will be typing in, you missed this, you missed this. It's not a one video. This is just a start, because I've been talking about the sin ritual and how I brought that down, and meaning anointed time of the sacrifice to the gods, basically. And it's like, we are what we eat, but we are also what we see. Our bodies are vessels and the lamps of the body. So when that's talking about whatever you feed into it can manipulate and change you within, and that is crazy. I know I might be talking a lot of metaphors and symbolic and things that might not actually be true, but this is just my path, my journey, how I see this realm. And that's why this video is important, because it's showing you how we all see things differently. And I mean, for instance, that's a phone, but someone will see it differently, and then someone will see it symbolically, and someone will see it as a scrying mirror, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And that's how things get changed and get manipulated in this realm. Crazy. It gets me really excited, and I can't hold it. And when I'm putting two together and I'm finding out that the left eye, all the left side basically was known as evil, but the Oculus sinister, and the Oculus looks like an eye, hence why I put it in the video. So it seems to me it's all connected. And when we're talking about the divine light, and we're talking about waves and frequency, and when we see an object, we see it in its past tense. It's literally in the past. And I researched a God who is the past, the present and the future, who's also linked and called Lucifer. And all these connections that I'm throwing at, and I can't ignore, and I have to put in the video to show you guys that he is the initiator, he is the mediator. Have we got a battle of light? You know, because light can be good, light can be bad, light can be indifferent, light can manipulate, light can morph. There's so much in this that you can go, and that's just why I get excited, and that's why I do these videos. And I want to keep it quite short. I'm going to go in a minute because I don't want it to take away from the video. The video is so much information in it, and if I start talking for a long, it takes it away. So I just want to ask you that question, guys. If it really does, if light is divine, and obviously there won't be just one type of light, there could be a primordial light, whatever, 3 types of light, 5 times of light, who knows what is actually out there, because it's all frequencies. And then if you can manipulate the frequencies and change the input, what does that do to us? And that's why I talk about these things like the sin and sign frequency and different things, and ley lines being lie lines, and could that in fact manipulate these vessels? Who knows? And that's why I leave it up to you good guys. But isn't it fascinating to find out the left eye is called Oculus sinister? Left is associated with evil. There's 11% according to that. They're projecting this figure, and that's what arose and piqued my interest. You had things of the orbits of the eye and ganglions, but what's a gang of lions? But pride. Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, isn't it? You know, so what can we say? Does it law these things? And when we, in ancient times, when there was an entrance or a doorway, there was always lines put there in pairs. And if you remember my old videos, what number does lions add up to in gematria? So you can see why I get excited and want to share it with you. So the anointed light, the time to sacrifice, and these are altars. You have the chiasm, the cross above, or I don't know where in anatomy it actually is. Maybe it's here, maybe it's there. Like my hairline is receding. So the cross is also an X, and also the door. You have the 11s on your eyes there. In between that is a pineal gland, which Manly P. Hall called Janus. All these are 11s. The pineal gland, the third eye that may be at the back of there caused ancient times. All this got talk, God, light, light of the body, divine light, manipulation of light, lightbringer being evil. It's like there's a war on in regard to us, our vessels. I mean, we get manipulated. So if it is divine light, and when it goes into our eyes, more light, our eyes constrict. Is that right? And when there's no light, our eyes get bigger. And there's other things I wanted to put in the video in regard to. In my old video, the circumpunct one, I was talking about how our eyes could be the black sun. You know, like the sun wheel. Because it's weird that when we talk about our eyes are kept, it's called an orbit. You know, like they do and go into space. And if you remember my old video, I connected space, NASA, with the eye and the cave, because I believe we're in a cave, we're enclosed. Just like our eyes are, they're enclosed for its safety. And could our eyes and how we wander be the ecliptic, the path? And they are the sun and the moon. Hence why one is known as the sun and one is known as the moon. And the path, the journey, is circular, with us in the middle, like a circumpunct, the Godhead. So there's all these things that I wanted to put in, and I might revisit later on. But I just wanted to leave you this and see what you guys think of, hey, could our eyes basically be open to manipulation? And that's why I call it the sin ritual, because we do see sin. And that's what, you know, and if you act on that sin, it becomes a sin. But you know what I mean, like lust and all those good things that people say are good. Because it's all interpretation, isn't it? Like anything. Some say, oh, that's a sin. Some say, that's not a sin. This is a sin. So we're in a knowing situation. It's like when I do a video, someone will complain, someone will love it, some be indifferent. And you just have to do things that make you happy, because I always try and make everyone happy, and a long time ago I figured out I can't, because people will literally moan at anything they can. And it's hard creating content. It's hard when you got things outside of this YouTube land, because this video's took me weeks to make. So I'm just so busy, but it's a new way I can connect. So if that eyes, using the scrying mirrors and the Ouija board, the computer, we are connecting and divination and everything with our eyes, hence the scrying mirrors. So that is why Janus is important, because he connects to everything. You have to go through him to go to everything. Like I was showing you, he's a mediator. It's just crazy, isn't it? So this divine light connects to the altar, and then we worship. And if we see something happy, it affects us. If you see something nice, it affects us. You get aroused, or you can become happy. If you see something graphic, it scars you. You know, it's like the ears. I remember in an old video, if you slice open an apple, mal and bad, it looks like two ears. So these senses all connect. And if people talk about a simulation, and we're talking about the Oculus sinister, the OS, the operating system, and you then have iPhones, iOS, you start to get trippy. And iOS is a virus in Greek. So you can see, no pun intended, drums, dum dum dum. So you can see, hidden in plain sight. All the puns are coming out now. But from the ritual to meaning the anointed or appointed time of a sacrifice. The Janus link of who taught humans how to sacrifice. The Black Eye Club are hitting each other in their eye. You have people who believe in the Vril stuff. The drone's been going in through their eye. You see all these significant ritualistic photos of them covering their eyes, exposing their eyes. Now I know why. Because they're altars. That is just wow. And with an altar, you saw all the breakdown of that. It just blew me away. Just turning my phone off. And then I can also quit. Really go. So that said, a place of worship. So we're worshipping with our eyes. We're offering to the altar what we see. And it's connecting us to the divine. So light is important. It is mind-blowing. And I'm sorry that I've not done longer on the thoughts, but I just didn't want to take away from the video. There's enough in the video to get your juices flowing, get that brain going, and all the connection with the eyes. I've got so much that I could have put in it, but I just wanted to show you the significance and why the eyes are important. The connection to sin, connection to the left, connection to Adam and Eve. That was a big one to me. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. There were two trees. Tree of good and evil. The tree of evil, good and evil, obviously knowledge. And then the tree of life. And that's why I was asking, were these trees actually your eyes and your structure? Because the serpent went round it, like I was showing you in the images. And could that have been just manipulate a sine wave, a frequency? It just intrigued me so much. Going down that route, asking it all these questions that I've put in the video, finding out all these new things, all the connection with apples and eyes. Is that why they said it was an apple in the Garden of Eden, to refer to the eyes? You know, God always talks about how he creates things. With the first thing, he was basically creating this realm with light. What was seen and unseen, what was visible to our eyes, what is invisible to our eyes, that is actually there. And other animals and other things can see it. Just gets used to thinking, oh, look at all things going off. You know, so it's just a crazy world. It's just my doorbell thing going off. I'm like, I've been nosy. I'm like, I should show you. So, guys, what do you think? Do you think I'm onto something? Do you think I'm seeing things? Or do you think there's something to this in regard to ritual sacrifice, light, connected to the worship of our eyes? Because it's all there. You have your eyes, which are the altars. You have the temple. And above the temple, you have the cross, the chiasm. And also, if you remember, above an altar, generally in a church, you have a cross, which is a chiasm, but also is also known as a rood. An R-O-O-D, which if you reverse it means door, is that refers to the pineal gland. And then what happens if you use that sight with your sight? Is that the sight beyond sight? I swear that reminds me of something like from Thundercats, when he looks through his sword, the sight beyond sight, or whatever it was, if I remember. But you can see why I get excited. So I want to say goodbye for now. Hopefully I'll try not to leave it till 2-3 weeks again, But you can see why it's just hard work. I've put so much effort into this video just to show you the significance of the eyes and different theories, all pushed into one of why could the eyes be the operating system? Could the eyes be the altars? And we are ritually sacrificing things when we see the light. Who knows? I'll leave that up to you. So stay safe. Always wear a smile. Don't let the bar stools grind us down. And if you want to help the channel, just like, share and subscribe. Or buy me a bar of coffee. Right, guys? Bye. I'm going. I'm moving my mouse. I'm moving it. I am. Bye, guys.